Hi everybody! By way of introduction, my name is Chris Opperman. Thanks to my friends at Hub, I am here today to talk to you about how to be more creative in your daily life. We are going to dispel some common myths, discuss different strategies, and get you fired up to make some art. Time is a currency, just like money. However, while money comes and goes, time only goes. Therefore, spending your time wisely on worthwhile pursuits is of critical importance. Now, I'm not saying to be a miser with your time. Enjoy doing things that are fun for you. Just be aware of time's transient and irreplaceable nature. Be aware that happiness is something that needs to be pursued. Chances are, if you're watching this lecture, that you believe that being more creative will make you feel happier and more fulfilled. So congratulations, you are already on the correct path. Now, the first and most important myth about creativity that I would like to dispel is the idea that it is a magical, inherent trait that some people are born with. The truth is that creativity is a learnable and teachable skill that can be developed through diligent practice. It's like working out. Doing the best and most efficient workout once is not going to get you or keep you in shape. Regular exercise does that. Therefore, the more time you spend writing, drawing, playing, dancing, cooking, crafting, teaching, acting, whatever it is you want to do, and the more regularly you do those things, the more those skills will develop. Setting aside just 15 minutes a day will generate almost 100 hours in a year, and you can accomplish quite a bit in 100 hours. Now, don't discount the value of thoughtful research. If you see a piece of art or hear a piece of music that interests you, simply consider what you find interesting about it. Maybe even write it down so you can keep it in mind while creating your own art. Libraries and museums are also an amazing resource. An afternoon at the library is a lovely way to spend your time. When I go, I don't bother looking up call numbers or anything specific. I just go to the music section and find a score or a book that looks interesting, and I check it out. It's an adventure. Also, many college libraries have late hours and are open to the public, so spend a free evening with a book at the library instead of a bottle at the bar. Water the fruits of knowledge in your mind. Now, many of us have had the experience of developing regular habits that we maintain for a period of time before life, and its predictable unpredictability distracts us and breaks our routine. Then it becomes difficult to pick those habits up again because we might feel guilty about either lost progress or about not achieving our goals within our arbitrary timeline. The best remedy for this is to simply begin again, and again, and again. The time you spend with those negative feelings will be better spent, you guessed it, beginning again. One way to help dispel those negative feelings is to look at actions as either being skillful or unskillful instead of good or bad. Skillful actions are simply actions that further your goals or otherwise improve yourself or the world around you. If you're trying to write, setting aside time to do so is a skillful action. Memorizing a monologue or researching knitting patterns on the internet are skillful actions. Eating healthy, exercising, volunteering, participating in a writer's group or actor's workshop, these are all skillful actions. The most skillful action is often simply practicing what it is that you want to do. And by practicing, I mean literally doing it. If you're a musician, don't wait to be at the gig to start performing. Use that performer mindset in the practice room, and it will be second nature by the time you're ready for the gig. Also, you're only practicing if you're working towards being able to do something you can't already do. It should be difficult. Otherwise, you're just playing. Now, all of the arts have technical obstacles that need to be overcome. If you're having problems drawing specific line patterns, then just practice drawing those specific line patterns. Furthermore, please do not discount the importance of having strong secondary skills. As most of you know, my primary skill is music composition. However, I wouldn't be speaking to you right now if I was only good at writing music. This specific task requires some acumen in writing, public speaking, acting, and teaching. Sometimes I hear students complain that an assigned course is not going to be relevant to their future career. My response to that is twofold. The first is practical. To those of you who are at the beginning of your creative journey, you only vaguely know what skills and knowledge you will need to succeed. The second is whimsical. If our creative arts are a result of the full sum of our experiences, then the interrelatedness of those experiences should be obvious. The richer and deeper you can make your knowledge and life experiences, the richer your art will be because you will have a deeper pool from which to drink. Now, whether we call actions skillful or good might not seem all that different, so let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, our protagonist comes home from work after a particularly hard day, orders a pizza, eats some ice cream, and watches garbage TV until they pass out, TV still in, remote in hand. You might be saying to yourself, wow, that's really bad. Is it? Is it really? Our protagonist went to work and fulfilled their minimum responsibilities for the day. They earned the time to sit around doing nothing and the money for their junk food. So it doesn't feel quite right to judge those actions as bad. However, our protagonist harbors dreams of becoming a novelist someday and could certainly have made more skillful choices. Let's go to the next chapter. A few weeks later, our protagonist again comes home from work after a really hard day. This time, they spend 10 minutes taking a little walk around the block, breathing deeply and reflecting on all the good things in their life. They come home and make a simple, healthy meal. They know that their writing will only get better with practice and experience, so they get to it. They earned that time. When they get stuck with a grammatical concept, they look it up and learn how to do it properly. When they get to a point in the plot where they're not sure how to move it, they simply begin writing from another character's perspective to see if that shakes something loose. They don't just give up. In both examples, our protagonist made allowable choices. However, one set of choices was clearly more skillful than the other. Obviously, these two chapters are two extremes in a pendulum. Any day where you make more skillful choices than average is a winning day, and you should see it that way and celebrate it as such. This brings me to my next topic, success! If you're trying to do a creative project and work diligently at it, you will eventually succeed in finishing the project. In terms of guarantees, that is all you get. There is no magic formula that will make you rich and famous. If there was, we would all do it, and then it would stop working. However, we know that it's possible because we live in a world of celebrities, many of whom are also wishing for even greater success. Therefore, you will never reach a point in your creative career where you are not interested in being more successful than you currently are. Understand that as an inherent part of the creative career path and try to celebrate all the little successes when they come. In the game Chutes and Ladders, some players are able to progress quickly by landing on a lucky ladder, while other players land on a garbage chute and spiral down backwards into the muck. And some players manage to get to the top just spinning away diligently and not landing on either chutes or ladders. Creative careers are the same way. While it is not possible to promise material success, it is possible to increase its probability. Every time you perform a skillful action, you increase the probability that you will find at least some success at some point in time. Every time you perform an unskillful action, you decrease that probability. However, while extrinsic success is not something that can be guaranteed, intrinsic success can be guaranteed. If our protagonist keeps at it, they will eventually finish their novel and find satisfaction in that. So can you. So can you. And if you can entertain and delight at least a few of your friends and family in doing so, then it was a skillful and productive use of your time. Good job. And now I'm going to tell you something truly scandalous, which many of my friends and colleagues will surely disagree with. You see, a finished project is better than a perfect project. Let me say it again. A finished project is better than a perfect project. You see, right now, there are probably many people doing what you want to do who are less competent than you, but they finish things. You see, perfection is a goal that can only be strived for and never attained. There's always a word that could be better. There's always a shot that could have gone better. There's always a note you played wrong, wish you hadn't. All right? Now look, if you ask me, I will always tell you to make the best possible project you are capable of making, to play the best you possibly can, to work and get it right. Work at getting it right. Okay? However, unless you are independently wealthy and have all the free time in the world, there will come a time in your project where you need to finish it and move on. In my work as a composer, that time is usually when the piece is due. I make my pieces as perfect as I can within the allotted time and then let them go when that time is up. If I make an orchestration mistake, or if a part doesn't pace as well as it could, then I make a mental note of that and use that information to make the next piece better. In fact, this very video is an example of that. I've been working on it for weeks, and now I'm making edits as I'm talking, and I'll probably edit right until I upload it to Hub. Now, let's talk about failure. A true master of any art has failed many more times than a novice has begun. Your failures will teach you more than your successes if you let them. The number of examples of individuals who faced a lot of failure and rejection early on, only to find success later in life by simply sticking with it and improving, is so numerous, I'm tempted to just call it a prerequisite. Do not be afraid to fail. Just accept it as part of the path, as part of the journey. Now, the last thing I want to mention is that no matter how great you get at a skill, you can always improve. Try to approach everything with a beginner's mind, an open mind, whenever possible. There is a famous story about a Zen master who accepted an arrogant new student and offered them some tea. They continued to pour the tea until the cup was almost overflowing amidst the student's protestations. The teacher responded, "Like this cup, you are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you anything unless you first empty your cup? So go empty your cup and make some art. Go make some art right now. Right now. Goodbye. Make art. Go to work. Bye. I'm leaving. Goodbye. Over. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here."
Thank you so much, Chris. That was incredible.
I can't hear you, didn't I? Oh, there you are.
Hey, you're thoughtful and incredible. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Inspiring to many of us who succumb to the couch. You know, I try to stay away from the couch, by the way, and the remote. That is the killer of creativity, I believe, truly, because it can suck you in. Just, you know, you say just for a few minutes, and then an hour might go by, and what happened to that song you
Right.
were supposed to write or that project that you have? I'd love to hear from other people if you have any questions.
Well,
You can type them, you can start talking. Let me know if I need to unmute anybody. I'm apparently learning about the mute button, so happy to do that.
Danae, you're totally gone again. All right. I'll answer the questions that I see in the chat. That probably makes it really easy, right? Okay, let's see.
I'm still here.
Yay, I'm glad you're still here. The best way to empty your cup and start the beginner's mind. So one of the things I was talking about earlier was about taking a walk. So whenever you feel distracted, your mind, you are constantly telling yourself a story about yourself and your place in the world. And that story often erroneous, right? So what I like to do when I push the reset button is I'll take a walk around the block and I'll just try to empty my mind out, and then I'll come back and be fresh and just look at what I'm working on. And I feel like that's helped me so many times. I can't even tell you how many times it's helped me. And it's telling students that just yesterday I had a student who was freaking out and we went for a walk and it was fine. So 10-minute walks are really good for you. Um, how you know when to quit? Does it call it done? What kind of project are you working on? Writing. Okay. Are you doing fiction or nonfiction? Both. Okay. Um, I'm thinking. I'm gonna answer thoughtfully. I mean, it's kind of like a magic thing. When I write a piece and the piece is finished, I just know, right? When I wrote this lecture and it was finished, I just knew that I had something I want to say. But one thing you could do is make a list of the things you want to say. So if you feel like, for instance, you're not sure where the plot's going to go or how the plot's going to end up, you can make a list of all the things that you want to say. And once you address all of them, then you know you have a solid first draft. Now, there are two different types of writers. There's the writers who manage to just write everything perfect the first time and kind of magically. And there are writers who have to edit everything. Okay, so I had to edit it, edit it, edit. Um, so who draw creative inspiration? So my primary creative inspiration is the music of Frank Zappa. That was what I grew up listening to, and that's when I want to be a composer. Um, cool. All right, Alan, you had a specific question about. Oh, you're muted. Cool. Okay. I compose music because that's what I always wanted to do, and I don't remember a time when I was not a composer. I started being a composer when I was 13 or 14, and I just never stopped. But I also like to draw inspiration from everything around me. I love how I can explore different things. So I've written probably like 600 or 700 pieces, and I haven't yet explored all the music I want to write. I find when you have a musical idea and you explore it, you just think of 3 or 4 different things. Of course, engineers are creative. I don't know why they wouldn't be creative. They literally create things. They literally make things. In the chat box, you push all panelists and attendees, and the attendees can also see what you're saying. So it doesn't sound like I'm talking. Alan, are you there?
Everybody is unmuted, so if you want to ask a question, I had to promote Alan to a panelist to allow him
Okay.
to talk due to technology. So
Cool.
it's interactive. We want to hear from you guys. If you guys want to talk, just unmute yourselves.
Okay, great.
I see lots of questions in here, though. Denny has some great questions. She wrote, "Why do you compose?" I'm not sure if you caught that one, Chris.
Oh yeah, I answered that one already.
Did already.
Yeah. Do I set aside time? Yeah, I set aside 10 minutes every single day for meditation. Otherwise I get too stressed out. Like in my actual life, okay, that's fine. I I run a business, I teach a lot of classes, I write music, I have a dad, I'm a husband. So I have this fragmentation where everything is very fragmented in my life. So I need 10, 15 minutes every day to just get my mind quiet so that I can be a cool dad, husband, business owner, teacher, professor, musician guy. My definition of creativity. Magic. I mean, human beings are the only species on Earth who are capable of being creative at levels we're capable of being. Like we can all dance. Dancing is a very rare skill in the animal kingdom. We have the advantage of being able to talk to not just our ancestors, our direct ancestors, but people from thousands of years ago. So we can interact with, Socrates or Aristotle or Kierkegaard or all kinds of philosophers. Yeah, I like to do my office. That makes me feel creative. Also, piano rooms. But like when I was at Berkeley in undergrad, I used to go to the Christian Science reading room a lot. They had a nice pond and beautiful pond. The lights were cool, so I'll go there.
I want
But
to
if
speak
you find you have a place that, sorry, Danae?
Oh, just want to speak to that for a second, what you just said. I think it's pretty powerful. Being in the place that you prefer to be creative is, something that I feel people should try to strive for, because for me, that place is nature. I like to go out into the trees and go for a hike, go for a walk, but I want to see scenery. I want to see something beautiful. And I usually want peace and quiet. And then I can return to a place of creativity. I usually take my notebooks with me, my filming stuff with me, and you'll find me filming on Hub out in nature if possible.
And what's cool about being a writer in your case, Denis, is that, sure, okay. Could you state the questions before you answer them? How necessary is quiet? I heard the coffee shops are good to write because the background noise is stimulating. Well, people are different. So some people will feel great and creative at Starbucks. Other people will not feel great or creative at Starbucks. But being a writer, in your case, what's cool is you don't need instruments. Like I have to have instruments and stuff like that, but you can just go anywhere and write. So you find a beautiful book, stationery you like. I mean, here's the thing, like if there is an object or a place that will help you, it is not superstitious to say, I'm going to take advantage of this to help me. Like get in the right mind space, then you just do whatever that mind space dictates.
I always say that I'm going to write, Denny, at the beach. And I bring all this stuff to the beach, and then I sit on the beach and I look at the ocean. I look at my pad and I have my pen or whatever iPhone, and then I just end up staring at the beach. So it's always interesting. I think for me, the creativity just happens. I could be driving in traffic and I suddenly think of, you know what? I think I need to write about that, which is unfortunate because I'm driving in traffic. But I tend to try to gravitate towards the beach. Maybe there's something about those lunar, moments. But those are some places I recommend if you can just get out in nature and go for a walk and have your peace and quiet as a writer. But you'll be inspired, I feel like, wherever you go.
All right. As a composer, do random sounds inspire you? For example, I had an empty box today for the rhythms. Oh yeah, I hear music all the time, and I also hear music in silence. The photocopy machine often has a cool rhythm. Your windshield wipers are mostly in 5/8. Let's see what else. Many creative people are relentless problem solvers. Do you sleep on your problems? Yeah, I do solve problems relentlessly. That's, like, I mean, I want that to be better all the time. Every day. Better, better, better.
Hey, Denny, can you elaborate on do you sleep on your problems? Do you, Denny?
Yeah, I think that if there's, I don't really try to think them out sometimes. I just sort of let my subconscious work it out. And then in 2 or 3 days, the problem usually resolves itself with an idea.
Cool.
We know each other, so this is good. In fact, most of us here on this call know each other. Um, Danny is highly creative, so if you have any tips that you want to share with us, we'd love to hear that as well.
Sure. I heard that creative people often take opposites, like they're really good at keeping opposites in mind, and you can't really pinhole them or pigeonhole them into one set of traits. For example, they're more fluid regarding points of view from gender or age or different things where you would think that there would be a polarity. Creative people are somehow able to kind of work between the opposites. And there are actually 15 different traits according to Cesar Holly, who's probably a really great thinker about creativity. And he says that there are these 15 traits, and creative people tend to have them, whereas most people don't. And basically, it's the ability to kind of work between the opposites.
But I think people who you would call, I guess, non-creatives, I think could train themselves to be more creative.
Yeah.
Because like your body is the hardware and your mind is the software, right? So you should be able to rewrite your software to accommodate the views you want to get.
Yeah, and I think it's always great exercise, like you say, that there, if you think of yourself as a beginner and you're always never reaching that final goal, then I think anyone can, in the guise of continual learning, adopt that ability to be more creative.
Yeah, I think lifelong learning is an essential skill for anybody, creative or not.
And
So,
don't you think that it's kind of tapping into the way people innately are?
yeah,
And maybe they've forgotten how to tap into that?
I think that's great. That's a great way to look at it. They forgot how to do it. But when you were a child, you didn't know how to even use a spoon or a fork, and you learned to do it. Or, I mean, the kind of milestones you have from infancy to just like to 3 years old is like unbelievable. Like you can make that kind of progress again. You just have to remember what it was like to learn everything.
I think
Part
one,
of it is also not, this is just kind of my last, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to tag on to your one point and let you continue.
So can I,
Sure.
sure.
Is it me or you?
Oh, so I'll wrap up. No, I'll actually, you go ahead because I've,
My one point, what I was thinking
well,
about,
sorry for this gap.
and I know that the traits aren't, available for us to look at. Maybe that's something that you can put into our creative hub. Denny, I would love to see what those 15 traits are. I was personally thinking that a creative
Sure.
person might not see something always as it is, but for what it could be. So instead of looking at, a situation or, observing conversation or a landscape or whatever's in front of them, they might think, what could that be? How could that be different? What if I were to,
Uh,
I'm here, don't worry.
I think we
Technology,
lost the name.
you know,
I think we're good. Welcome back.
continue.
It always works so people are watching you.
Always.
I think that's a great thing. It's seeing the possibilities. There are 50 different definitions of creativity. So definitely seeing a possibility, I think, is a way to make yourself more creative. And the example that I wanted to share was at the last couple of days, I have had kind of a breakthrough in my ability to write. And I'm actually back on track from when I was back when I had really severe deadline pressures and cranked stuff out. Like I haven't been recently.
Uh,
So the breakthrough I had was listening to a writer online. His name is Jerry Jenkins. And he said, no, writer's block is not, there isn't, don't think of it as a thing because other professions don't have block either, so why should writers be different?
right.
And he said, no, it just requires that you buckle down no matter how hard it is and you just do it.
Yeah.
So that was the aha number one. And then the aha number two was seeing a gal, Rhiannon, I think is her first name, but she writes 10 to 12,000 words a day, and it's an 8-hour day. And at first that kind of blew my mind. I thought, how is that even possible? But then I actually tried it, and I didn't go the whole 8 hours, but before long, I was actually outpacing that per hour, and it was fun. So I kind of broke through, and it's kind of, I call it the 4-minute mile, my 4-minute mile aha for writers. Just knowing that someone had done that gave me permission to just, just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, don't wait for permission. Just go do stuff. That's what I tell my students. I'm like, don't wait for your professor to assign you things. You want to learn something, go learn it. Like you're in college for me to guide you, and you should do what you want. And when you graduate, how are you going to move forward if you don't know how to assign yourself things? Like think of topics and go research them.
I think Alan is also in the writing phase as well. I scrolled up and looked at your question, Alan. Not sure if you're still with us, but that seems to be a topic that comes up quite a bit with writers is how do I get past this block or whatnot. One thing that I learned to do is, like Chris just said it perfectly, go ahead and fail, or don't be afraid to fail. Writing is something you can fail alone at. You don't need to fail.
Well, Alan is really talented, so he's had this band for over 20 years. Advent, they write really cool music, and Alan's very, very talented.
Oh, excellent. So I was just thinking that for other people maybe that might be watching this, one thing that I like to do is just free flow, freestyle write. Just write, like Denny said, 15 minutes a day, or how many words was it a day?
Oh, 12,000.
12,000
So
a day. Just
yeah.
start writing. Yeah.
There are a lot of exercises you can do to just get words on the page. When I tried to teach a student who hasn't written a song before and they wanted to try to write some lyrics, I don't have them to start by writing lyrics because that's really daunting. They feel really, I'm like, well, just pick a topic. Your first kiss, a cool party, hanging out with your bros, and just free form, write about that for 5 to 10 minutes, and then try and pull phrases out of that writing that work for you as lyrics or as a song title, and then try and build things around it. But a lot of times, it's just the getting started part that people have trouble with. So you try to design exercises so that people just get started. Are there any more questions? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thanks for talking.
Sounds like Alan wants a beer sometime, so maybe you guys could schedule that.
Cool.
Reading in the chat. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Professor Chris Opperman, for hosting this. And I want you to know that we want to have conversations like this in the Creative Hub. And I know that Chris, you might want to mention your hub as well, your composer hub.
I have a new music composer hub. So if you're a new music person or a composer or interested in that world, let me know and I'll invite you to that hub.
Yeah, so our Creative Hub is public. We hope to do so much more with it in regards to inviting multiple different types of creative people to interact together, to develop even a marketplace, and to share, and also to start to sub-hub down, so to speak, and get people together in their own like-minded hubs. But creativity is so broad, and we find that when people start to work together, they start to need different skill sets. So that's why we developed an open Creative Hub. We hope to see you there and answer any other questions. You can put questions into this particular event hub. It always will stay there. You can interact together using the connect button. You can jump out of this event and go into the Creative Hub and hit connect and see each other, message each other. You can go in and start posting, and we'll have our event feature next week. So if you want to create your own event just like this, it'll be very easy for you to do. And we look forward to seeing you and talking to you in Hub. And thanks again.
Thanks so much for coming. And thanks, of course, to Danae and Craig for all their hard work getting the technology to work. I really appreciate it.
And thank you, Tommy, too.
Thanks, Jeremy. Bye.